Hello there. Welcome everybody to SOG Tonight. My coverage of Andor, Star Wars, Disney Pluses, and Lucasfilm and Star Wars. The Andor series, of course, the series covering the background from Cassian Andor, who we met in Rogue One, as we know, is one of the main protagonists of that film, of course, along with Jyn Erso. But so I've been last week. I want to apologize. I wasn't here last week. I was sick, actually. I had I don't know what I had, but I had something, and I really couldn't. That was like in the height of my sickness, so I felt worse last Wednesday and Thursday. I did do my Nick show last Wednesday night, but I was really struggling through it. And then Thursday, I was just like, wow, everything really hit me all at once. So I wasn't really up to doing it, so I apologize for that, but I will be covering both episodes 7 and 8 this week. So we will be going through both of those episodes. In my last show that I actually did, I did by myself. So if you guys saw that and you were there, and I want to thank you for watching me, putting up with me that night when I was flying solo. But it's not always easy to do when you're flying solo, but you know, every once in a while I like to challenge myself, so it was fun to actually do that, and has some pretty positive feedback. So I want to thank you guys for who tuned in and watched me on that night. But I do have a returning champion coming today to help me out, Mr. Steve Helm, who was on my first show. So let me add him here. Steve, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Yes, how are you?
I am good to go. Got the next 4 days off of work, so
nice.
Yes,
very nice.
Got plans. Awesome.
Oh, so you have plans too? That's even better.
Yes.
It is Halloween weekend, so I don't know if your plans revolve around Halloween weekend, but it is.
Well, my plans involve going to driving to Dallas Saturday to see Alice Cooper and the Misfits.
Of course, yes. Yeah. Steve is my concert-going friend. He goes to more concerts than anyone I know.
Hey,
so
Alice Cooper and the Misfits for Halloween, you can't get any better than
that's true. That is like perfect. Yeah. Is that the theme, or is it just happen to be there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure that it has something to do with it, but I mean, no, the Misfits are like my all-time kind of like favorite old punk band, and so I said, hey, if they ever come to Texas, because they reunited years ago, if they ever come to Texas, I don't care how much money I got to pay, I'm gonna go. And so I'm not going to disclose how much money I paid, but I'm going.
Hey, it's nobody's business. No one's business.
Exactly.
You work for it. You work for it. You do what you got to do. You do what you enjoy. Are you we got some news in rock music today. Are you a Motley Crue fan?
I do love the Crew. I'm a Crew head. So yeah, no more Mick Mars. He's retiring.
Yeah.
John 5N, who is an excellent, he's like a virtuoso on the guitar, man. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
Yeah. So been with Rob Zombie the last several years. And before that he was with Marilyn Manson. So yeah.
Yep. So it's kind of an end of an era in a way.
Well, Mick Mars, he has like.
Yeah, I know he's back issues, right?
Yeah, he's got like a degenerative, like, man, I want to say like his spine, like it's like fused together, and
yeah,
I mean he's got it rough, because they were supposed to retire. 2015 was supposed to be like their last hurrah, and then now it's 2022, and they're still going. So
they needed the money, I guess, so they had to keep going.
I mean, I guess, I wonder, like, do these bands, they get back together and do they make just like a ton of money for like a tour, and then they just sit around and just spend money for years?
That's what it seems like.
Smack, I got to pay some bills now.
That's literally what it feels like. I feel like when you hear these bands like, oh, they're done touring, they're not gonna do it anymore, they're retiring, and then a few years later, like, oh, they're touring again. So Cher used to do that too all the time, right? Like Cher would disappear, I'm not touring anymore, then she'd pop up and be like, I'm starting another tour again. So it's when they need the money. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, dude, I remember like, man, I want to say it was back in 2004 when they did like they got like Motley Crue back together. They did like a VH1 show about it. They were getting them back together or something. Do you remember this? It was years ago. 2000. It's got to be 2000.
Oh, it was like a reality show where they put them back together. I don't remember this.
It was yeah, kind of like because they were broken up, and they put them back together. But when they went to go get Mick Mars, like this dude was on his deathbed.
Yeah,
like they open up the door and he's like, he looked like a zombie for real. And like they had to get him like all kinds of medical treatments and stuff to get him back going. So it was, yeah, man, it was a long time ago. And hey, man, he had a good run because he was older than all those guys.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the movie on Netflix?
I did.
Yeah. Wow. What a flick that was.
I mean, Rick Shue, who is a friend of all of us.
Oh, that's right. Rick Shue. Yeah.
He's a big Motley Crue fan.
Hey, man.
So he's a huge Motley Crue guy. So whenever whenever there's Motley Crue news, he's like one of the first people to tell me, let me know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
He'll get it to me right away. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because you brought up you going to these concerts, and it just put it in my head really quick. Like, oh yeah, we just got news today. So well, I mean, he's like you said, he's put in his time definitely. And he's still. They said if they record any new material or whatever, he'll still be the guy doing that.
Right.
He just can't tour anymore. Yeah, he just can't tour anymore. So
yeah.
So all right, well, Godspeed, Mick, man. I mean, hey,
Mick Mars, man.
So you earned it.
Yeah, he's like 70 something. He's old.
Yeah, I mean they're all old now, but yeah,
they're all old, Yeah.
So since last we've spoken about Andor, what is just really quickly? What has your what have you thought of the show overall?
I like the show. It's a story. They're not rushing anything. Obviously, they're taking their time with the story. The dialogue, even with the last episode, I decided I'm just gonna put the subtitles on just to kind of really get in depth with it.
Yeah.
Man, it's a really well written show.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I agree. Like that's my biggest takeaway. Like all the people are like, "Oh, it's not really Star Wars." I'm like, "Well, I mean, this is the deepest, richest storytelling that we've had in any Star Wars medium, including animation. Of course, the animation has always been great, but this is such a higher level of that, and just so well done. And Tony Gilroy is just, I mean, he's good. He's just a really good writer. Like he's directing this. He's directing some episodes as well, but he's the main show writer, and he's directed other things that we've seen. But his skill is really writing. And this is just a really richly written show. It's so well done. Character development is so good. I mean, it's been awesome following each week, learning about these characters that especially like Mon Mothma, because we've known her for a long, long time, right? And we're learning her backstory now, more of that, and how her build up, why she got so involved in the rebellion, and what her role actually was in building it, because we always knew her to be a leader. So just things like that, like that's the thing about this show with me, that has been just really cool. Just learning and the world building and everything going on, and learning these new planets and new systems, and how the Empire, now we're getting even into more how the Empire built after Sith. Like we're learning now, just how brutal they were, and it's so much. It's right.
I'm really impressed with their brutality.
It's so much more targeted, and you're focusing on, yes, Cassian is the main character, and your focus really is on him, but even the people in his life, how this impacts everyone in his life, and it's so well done. But we are now up to episodes. We're going to do, like I said before, we're going to do episodes 7 and 8 because last week I wasn't here. I was sick. So episode 7 last week was called Announcement. That was the name of the episode, and of course, it was the first episode post the Aldhani heist that they had actually done and completed. Um, so the first thing we see is Cashin's actually goes back home to Ferrex and reconnects with Marva, who's kind of his adoptive mother.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of like, hey, I fell into this, this job, and I got a lot of money, so come with me, let's leave, we don't have to be here anymore, let's go somewhere else. And then she says no.
Yeah.
So she says no, because of what he did on Al Hadi with the heist. She's gotten re-energized with her rebellious spirit, and she wants to make sure that Ferrex is protected, and the seat of the rebellion stays there. So we hadn't seen her in a while. So what did you think of her reintroduction into the show and their little conversation? Because it was a pretty I don't want to say sad, but a pretty like conflicting moment for her. And
yeah, so he's off doing his mission, and he just kind of pops back up, and so it was a good little reunification, I guess you want to say. But yeah, man, I mean, he's made some money, so he's ready to like hightail it out, and she's like, she's a rebel, you know what I mean? It's in her heart. I don't think it's quite, to me, he's more of the guy who's going to do stuff for the money or whatever, a way out, find his so far at this point, so he's not like the hardcore rebel like she is, it's because kind of a means to an end for him, so yeah, it was a cool little thing, but you see where their paths are a little different at this point.
Right, and we learned a little bit more about Clem, who was kind of, I guess, it was her husband and his adoptive father. We learned a little bit more about what happened to him, because we hadn't seen him really since the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get going back to Ferrex, we get these like little loose ends get tied up a little bit, and we see Clem and how he tried to stop the town from revolting against stormtroopers, and he lost his life for it. He was hung actually in town square, which is a big Star Wars thing now, because we saw it in Obi-Wan. They hung that kid in the middle of the town, and now we're seeing it in Andor. They hung him in the town.
They're ruthless, man.
Yeah, man. Like, we're getting more of that. And again, this is all happening in the same time period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan, Andor, it's all kind of in the same time period. So we're learning more about this time period that we didn't have much on before this. So it's very, very cool to see that again, that angle from the Empire. He also reconnects with Bix, Colleen, the Adria Arjona's character. She comes back into his life, and they kind of have a conversation. He's kind of letting her know that, yeah, you're probably never going to see me again. Yeah. But he wanted to pay off his old debt, the money that he owed to people. And that was a pretty cool scene too. We still don't know, again, about their history. We know that it obviously was a romantic thing, but we still don't really know how far they got or what exactly they were their relationship really was. But yeah, I mean, the first segment of the show was pretty much just that, him dealing with the aftermath and what he was going to do and trying to reconnect with old people in his life. The droid, I love the droid that Marva has. That droid is, I keep forgetting the name of it, but it's a cool little droid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, but we don't know the extent of their relationship, but gentlemen don't kiss and tell. So,
well, for what we see in the later on in the episode, I'm not sure so much of how much of a gentleman he actually is.
You're right,
but that's neither here nor there. Clearly with her there was something, right? Like, they have a relationship and they have a past, and so clearly you can see something's there. But then the show flips a little bit and starts giving us more insight into the Empire's the Empire's ways. That's what I was talking about before. So because of what happened on Aldhani, we go and we see the Imperial Security Bureau meeting, and we actually see an old character pop up again, Wolf Yularen. He is the one who, in A New Hope, when Vader is choking that I still don't remember that character's name. He's choking the guy in their meeting room, and he was the guy sitting right next to him. So this guy, now we know who he is in this show. And they created a directive called the Public Order Resentencing Directive. And basically what it is okay, what the criminal sentencing was before, well, now it's like 80 times worse. That's basically what it is, right? They changed all that.
Wow.
So what did you think of that that opening scene where you saw them all in the meeting room and kind of laying down the new letter of the law? It kind of threw back to like Tarkin, right? Like you kind of right?
Oh yeah. It had that old school feel. You know, Tarkin, like having Tarkin in Rogue One, that was really cool.
Right.
You know, so but yeah, this law sucks.
Yeah, like it, and you could obviously we're starting to also see that what we've always known about this period in Star Wars, that the Senate and any kind of government was just a sham, right? Like there's no government. This is just, the Empire is just one rule. It's Palpatine's rule, and that's it. Like there's nothing else. But we also get reintroduced to the character Supervisor Miro, Deidre Miro, who is the one in the entire bureau who was kind of like, okay, this wasn't just a robbery. There's something bigger going on here. And then we see her old friend, that guy, pop up in the meeting and try and call her out and saying, oh, she's been trying to look for things in my jurisdiction, looking outside, trying to look for something that's not there. What do you think of her character, though, now? We've seen her a little bit. What do you think of her character in the show?
Yeah, so she's the one, she's the one who's like, she's looking deep into stuff, like if it wasn't for her, everyone's just kind of, like I said before, with this, the Empire is so powerful, you're going to have to do really something to get on their radar to where they consider you a threat. And so if it's not for those go-getters, like, she's obviously, she's looking career-wise like she wants to be more than probably what she is, so she's going to have to make a splash. And, she's the one who's digging in deep. And if it's not for her, all this stuff probably gets overlooked.
Right.
So she's power hungry. I would say, she wants that power. She's career-minded feminist baby. I don't know, he's really going after it. And like you got the guys in power and they're like, whatever, sit down,
Yeah. It took convincing, right? It took convincing because when the other guy, I forget his name, when the other guy was bringing this up, it seemed like the Major Partagas, I think is his name. He said like he was kind of first like, yeah, well, he's right. Like it's not your area. And she just kind of kept pressing the issue, and he kind of after a little while, you saw him thinking like, okay, she's making some sense here. Like there's something, there's something to what she's saying. And then you get it. He at the end of the day, he's like, all right, you know what? Do your thing. Like, go ahead, look into it. But he does warn her. He does say to her when he says, follow me, when the meeting broke, he says, follow me, come with me. And all he says to her is watch your back.
Right.
Like that's his advice. So you kind of wonder, I kind of wondered what that meant. Because when I'm watching the show, I'm like, well, he's kind of her boss. So why is he telling her to watch her back if he kind of can oversee her and kind of protect her and explain to everyone why they're doing this? And we get a little bit of clarity in episode 8. So we'll get to that later because they have another meeting again. But in this episode, if you're watching it, I was just kind of like, what's the point of that? Like, why are they, I don't know. It was just a weird warning to me. But yeah, she's definitely the badass so far.
Yeah.
In that council.
Yeah, I would say, watching that part, it's kind of like if you've ever been involved in any kind of business or job or anything, you got your go-getters, and then you have your people who have been there, and they're always weary of the one trying to come for their spot, So there's a lot of backstabbing, stuff like that, like, so that's kind of what I got out of it. Like, watch your back, because people aren't going to, take your hunger. They're already in their positions of power. So they don't want anybody coming for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's probably he's clearly looking out for her, but I think he's kind of telling her I can't be too like in front with you on this. I kind of have to just walk by your side and hold your hand. So the other part we get in this one, the other main character who we've kind of met in this situation, who we didn't really learn much about, was God, now I'm forgetting his name. The kid who kind of pushed them into looking for cash in on Ferrex. Why am I forgetting his name?
Yeah, he was the I can't remember his name either.
Skylar, something with an S. I'm terrible. So we kind of see him again get restationed to his new job, and he's kind of just hating it, and it doesn't do much more than that in this episode, but it kind of just puts him out. It lets you know what's going on with him, but he's gonna come up again in episode 8. So we'll get back to him later. So we kind of have the shell now of what's going on and what they're doing to address what happened on Aldani. And then this episode was really well done in like four blocks. The next one, again, we go back to Mon Mothma, who to me now has become the most interesting character in the show. For me, how she's able to kind of have this this facade of being a senator and schmoozing with the right people, and just being a troublemaker in the Senate, yes, but of course in the traditional ways that a senator could be problematic, not as a rebel, a leader of a rebellion. And then, of course, her relationship with Luthen and the rebellion itself. So what we find out in this episode is that she didn't know about the heist. So what did you think? Why do you think he didn't tell her? Why do you think he protected her from that?
I really don't know. I thought going in watching the other episodes, I figured like she was kind of hand in hand knowing everything that was going on. And so at that point, maybe it was just the element of surprise. I really don't know. Maybe I don't know. What do you think?
I honestly think he was trying to protect her in a way. The less she knows, the better. Kind of not having her know exactly what was going on there, because at first she also thought it was just for the money, like when he was planning something just to get money, and that wasn't the case. Obviously, what Luthen tells her is we need to force their hand. We need to force the Empire into being stricter, and so because that's the only way the people are going to get fed up and want to fight back. So that was his what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. His explanation. That was his explanation to her about his justification. That's the word I was looking for. His justification of why he, kind of did that and kind of just kept it on a need to know basis. And she was just kind of like, I'm the one putting myself on the line every day. Like, I'm the one out in the front lines here trying to keep up this, this facade of that I'm a good senator in this new empire, when I'm really trying to start something and get rid of them. What do you their scenes to me are fantastic. Them two together, Stellan Skarsgård and Genevieve Riley, have been just amazing. Their scenes together, like I want her on screen more often when I watch the show, because I just love her scenes and how she kind of plays both sides with her facial expressions. Like, you could see she's kind of like holding stuff back, but also she has the pleasant demeanor. She plays the role she's doing. I think she's fantastic. Like, she's been my favorite thing on this show so far. So, but what do you think of their like interaction together and their chemistry, I guess, between the two actors on screen? Because I think it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and that just goes to the deepness of how deep this show is. The story it's telling, the characters it's building. I mean, like I said, if you're just gonna, if you're looking for the cheap, I hate to say cheap, but Star Wars, the thrill of the, the kind of short story, the action, all that, you're not necessarily going to get it watching just one episode of this.
Right.
You really got you've got to pay attention. You've got to, really just, immerse yourself into this story, because if you don't, then I could see some people getting disinterested in it, or like you were saying earlier when we were talking about how it's not really Star Wars. I mean, it is. We're just getting all of that story that we wouldn't get somewhere, in a movie. It
Right.
seems like, you know. So this is, like I said, the writing is spectacular. The dialogue is great. I mean, you never watch a Star Wars movie previous and saw two people talking and was just like, wow,
Right. Yeah. That is the one of the other like biggest takeaways. Like
Mhm.
you were getting actual, like, I want to say stage worthy acting, because that's what it reminds
Right.
me of. We're getting like theater worthy acting in this
Yeah.
show, which is very rare that you get in the Star Wars, in anything, like
Yeah.
anything Star Wars. It's
Yeah.
very
The drama is great. It's like, this is a show you can watch and you can see people getting, okay, maybe nominated for some kind of award,
yeah.
which, I mean, as much as we love the trilogies and all that, I mean, no one was nominating Hayden Christian or anyone for an acting award. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. It was all technical awards. Like,
Right.
always Star Wars always gets nominated for technical awards.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just it's a great story. This story so far, in you put it in any other kind of universe, and it's gonna work.
Yes, and we see another side of another character in this show as well. Now we know Luthen's assistant, Clea. She's a very strong woman. She's always she's kind of like his sounding board, the person who kind of keeps him on the straight and narrow. And we see her in a different light this time. So we find out that she actually meets with Vel in this episode to talk to Vel about finding Cassian and killing him,
Hmm.
because he knows too much and he can expose Luthen. Did you see that coming? I didn't see that coming.
Did not see that coming. But I
Right?
mean, you know, like Cassian, he was pretty much in it for the money. At this point, this is what we see. He's like the mercenary.
Yeah.
They
Good
paid
call.
him. When he came clean with those guys. Hey, I'm here because I got paid. And that's it. I want my money, and I'm gonna go.
Yep.
And so yeah, there's a risk with that, with a mercenary, because if they're so deep into this rebellion, for the right price, this guy can spill all the beans.
True.
That's how they see it.
True. And she doesn't know. Val knows, but she doesn't know that he shot the other guy because of that. Right? The guy who wanted to say, "Hey, let's go. Let's take all the money, split it, and go our own
Right.
ways." She knows because he told her what happened, that he killed him because he was going to do that to them. But Clea doesn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't tell her that either. She doesn't say that to her. So it was a very cool scene. And again, it was another scene where they're pulling back a layer of a character that we haven't seen. And I totally did not expect that. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
I thought she was going to wind up being a part of the Empire. Like when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, she's really bad. That's going to be the trick or the flip. Like they're going to say that she's actually working on for both sides or a double agent. But no, it wasn't that at all. So that was an interesting little thing we learned about there. And then of course we see, to me, the biggest part of this show was had to deal with Mom Mothma again. She's having just kind of having like a cocktail party, which it seems like they have all the time. Like every night they have some kind of cocktail party.
Partying it up, man.
Seriously. I mean, wow. So, and she has an old friend come from her planet. His name is Tay Koma. And she starts talking to him like, oh, I need access. She's kind of like trying to first, she's kind of talking around the issue, like, I need access to my family's fortune. It's been blocked for some reason. Can you start a charity as a front so I can get access to it? And he kind of tells her, she kind of starts telling to him, like, yeah, it's a little bit more than that. And he's kind of like, yeah, well, I'm on the same page. Like, I don't have any love for the Empire either. So now I'm wondering what his role is going to be going forward, right? We do see him again in episode 8 for a little while, but what's his role going to be in the grander scheme of the show? Because I didn't know she didn't have access to her funds. I feel kind of bad now thinking that. I'm like, what, this poor woman, what did she do? She don't have access to her family's money. But here we go. And then, yeah, so that to me was, this is, like you said, the writing, another layer. We're adding another character, another thing about her past, another thing about her life that's so difficult. And again, she, like I said, her acting in this has been phenomenal. She's so good. But what do you think his role is going to be?
I can only foresee that there's going to be a lot of underhanded backstabbing. There's going to be some characters who are playing both sides, like you were saying. You thought it was someone, but it wasn't. But maybe it is. We don't know. I mean,
right.
I think there's going to be a lot of that in this series. So yeah, it's interesting to see. I hate to put like too many to say I think this is going to happen, because it's probably going to go complete opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. This show has given some misdirection already. So we have had that, and that's what makes a good show anyway. When you keep the audience on their toes and trying to guess. So the last block we really see in the last, I want to say it's probably the last 20 minutes of this episode, was we finally see Cashin living on this beautiful island. Now, they don't give us the name of the planet here. Every other time they give us the name, but I don't remember seeing the name for this one. Again, I watched it last week and I was sick, so if I missed that part, I'm sorry.
No, I don't remember, but I think this was the first time that we got like Star Wars kind of techno dance music.
Yes, there was some of that in there. We see him living it up in this nice place. He has a woman with him.
Yeah.
He's getting it in with a woman in this area, and then he changed his name. He changed his name to Keith Girgo.
Yeah, Keith.
Man, Star Wars names are the best, man.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? But that's his new name, and he seems to be happy. It seems like every day he has this routine. He goes shopping, all this other stuff.
Yeah, he was living it up for sure, right? Man. He was like he retired.
Seriously, it was like, hey, I'm chilling. Like, I'm chilling on the beach here. I got this lady with me. I'm living it up, living well. And of course, we know that can't be the case because the show would just end and be boring. So,
yeah, how much did that suck though, man? You're like, so you just pulled off this job, you get away with it, you get paid very well, So what do? We say we go to Hawaii, we're living it up, on the beach. We're walking around in our white kind of, I don't know what it looked like a,
it was like, seriously, it was just, like this just cloak of nothingness.
Yeah, you don't have a care in the world. You have money. You're just shopping every day. And then you're walking down the beach, just looking around, taking in the sights, and then what happens?
Yeah, he gets fingered for being part of this.
Looking around.
Yeah, literally, he gets pretty much accused of being part of some anti-imperial whatever.
Yeah, so how crazy is that, man? You're like a career criminal, pretty much. Is what this dude is,
Yeah.
Probably has never had a job, he's just done what he's had to do to get money, and then you think you're good to go, and you get arrested for taking a stroll on the beach.
Yeah, for being guilty by association, because there was other things going on, and those people were running and stuff, and they were chasing them. But then he kind of gets tagged by one of those KX security droids.
Oh yeah. And
Right?
he's just like, I'm a tourist, man.
Yep. He's fighting with them. I'm a
I'm just
tourist.
a
What are you
tourist.
doing?
And the
Yeah.
robot from Rogue One comes in.
Yeah. So that's the first, like, here's the first time we get to see that robot too, right? In the
Yeah.
show. So we know how he becomes familiar with them is not in a good way.
Yeah, no
You know.
kidding.
So yep, and what happens is he goes to court, and now we see the show comes full circle because
Yeah.
now that those new sentencing orders are in place, and what would have been a 6-month sentence,
Yeah, it's now 6 years.
exactly 6 years. So he gets a 6-year sentence for civil disruption, anti-imperial speech, fleeing the scene of an anti-imperial activity, and attempted damage to imperial property, which he didn't do.
Didn't do any of that. Didn't
Right.
do any of that.
But
Mhm.
that's where we're left off with him being sentenced, and that's
Yeah.
it is crazy. It's crazy that he
Yeah.
got arrested for not for the thing he actually did. He's getting
Yeah.
arrested for something completely,
The countless things that he's done.
right. It's
I
crazy.
mean, this guy is, murdered. I mean, more than one person, obviously. Stole,
Robbed.
the payroll of the empire. I mean, it just countless things. And then, wow. I don't know. It's funny. I had to laugh about it. You know what I mean? It was just like, you got to be kidding me.
It really was. Like I even said, that's what I said watching it. I'm like, this guy literally did everything, got away with it, and then this thing he didn't do is what
Yeah.
gets him. It was nuts. It really was crazy. But again, really excellent way to end the show and then begin this week. Literally picks up right from there.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 8 comes in right out the gate, right from that point. Like there's no segue. We don't have any kind of build up to it. It starts with him being brought to this prison. His prison on the planet. What's it called? Sorry.
Narkina 5?
Yeah.
Narkina,
Yes.
was it Narkina? I don't know.
Yeah, Narkina 5, I think. Yes.
So a little backstory here.
Go ahead.
I used to work in a prison.
Okay.
I was a prison guard.
Okay.
This prison kicks ass. If you have this kind of prison, you don't need prison guards.
Yeah, and it's kind of it kind of has like Holocaust, like what happened to the Jews in the Holocaust, like the way that they transport them and bring
Mhm.
them to the prison. I kind of had that feeling in my head watching that. And then there's elements of a lot, like I started thinking like Blade Runner-ish too. Like there's a lot of elements in this one episode
Yeah.
that pull from a lot of different things. A lot of influences here in this one. And yeah, like I said, it picks up right from there. And dude, what was the craziest thing to me was the floor.
Yeah, so the floor, I wouldn't, was it shocking them? Was it?
Well, there's two, apparently. There's two different ones. When they were in the transport area where they finally first got to the prison, apparently the floor, yes, it was like electrically charged, whatever.
Yeah.
And that guard was creepy as hell. Like he scared me. I was watching the show. I'm like, I would do whatever the hell he said.
You see the boots they were wearing?
Right. And they made it like,
yeah.
See, and that again, great directing, great use of the camera because they kept focusing on those boots. You're like, why the hell are they focusing on these damn boots?
Yeah, these guys got no shoes on, no socks.
Yeah, we're like, what the hell? And then we find out why, because those were rubber lined boots. Because when he wants to prove to them, like, hey, why don't we have weapons? This is why we don't have weapons. And he presses this damn wand thing, and they all get shocked and like look like cripples, basically.
There was some weird. It looked crazy, you know.
Oh
like, man, what did just? And I had to rewind it. I was like, was it shocking him? Was it because he said the kind of metal that it was?
Yeah, some kind of steel, some kind of. He did. He says some kind of metal.
Yeah. So I was it like some kind of crazy magnetism? But I don't know. It was weird. But yeah, that sucked. Like, how cool would that? And I was just thinking back, like when I worked in a prison. What if you had a floor like that? Because I mean,
would have made your job easier, right?
Man, totally easier. Oh man, Because like when those guys, when they take him to, you know, the cell or the wing that he's going to be working in, I mean, those guys, they get up and they're like hands behind their head like this.
Yes.
I forget, you know, and they were like right at attention, you know, and these guys have no weapons. Like these prisoners, they know what's up.
Seriously, it was very, very brutal. Like brutal without looking brutal in a way, right? Because
there's no talking back.
that was perfect use of color, right? It's all white.
Mm-hmm.
And white historically is a color of calm and peace and all that. And this prison is anything but.
No.
Right?
No. Yeah, these guys are they're having a hard time. I mean, they're having a hard time just keeping it together. You see that the first night, Andor is just having to be in that cell. And I was thinking, I even made a note. I'm like, well, at least he gets his own cell, you know.
Well, and credit to Diego Luna's facial acting when he first gets there, because you can just see the fear.
Oh man,
and the worry.
You know, and that's one thing I was watching as this is all unfold. Like when he first goes to the table 5, you know.
Yes.
These guys, they're putting stuff, you know. What was it they were building? Did you figure that out?
No, and I've been trying to figure that out since I watched the episode, because I'm like, what exactly are they? And I'm just thinking in my head of all the Star Wars knowledge I have. I haven't really looked it up, so I'm just kind of thinking, I'm like, what could that be? Could it be the leg of something? Yeah, I have no idea.
Thinking they're like, you know, it's got to be, you know, it's got to be some kind of something to go to, some kind of weapon. You know what I'm saying? Yes, maybe it's part of the Death Star.
And then I'm thinking of like, are they building things that will torture them in the future? Because that would be like a crazy mind. You know, you're building stuff that might be used on us when we finish it. But yeah, again, they even have a scene like with like a mass shower scene, which I get again, like they kept it very much like what we know of prisons as well. And they kind of applied that here. And of course, the great Andy Serkis.
Yeah. I'm like, oh damn, here comes Alfred.
But I'm thinking he played what's it called? He played Snoke. He was the voice of Snoke in the sequel trilogy. So I'm like, what are they doing here? Like, is this like young Snoke? And something happens to him in the field. Like, that's where my mind goes.
And I didn't even put that together that it was Snoke, but I was because I saw him and I'm like, the hell is Alfred doing here?
Yeah, like I'm thinking Alfred, Gollum, obviously.
Yeah, and
you know,
he's like the guy who kind of runs. He's the inmate who runs the whole ship. You know, he's the guy that everyone's obviously gonna hate. You know what I mean? And but
he's fantastic.
Man, what this prison like when they brought him to his cell, you know, because he goes, they okay, you're gonna work on table 5. We don't know what they're doing. We know it's they're manufacturing. You know, they're building stuff, and he's just kind of watching it all, and it's like when you watch him doing all that, it's like he's trying to figure things out. Like, so you don't know if he's just like, maybe I know what they're doing, but how can I use this in the future? You know, that's what I was seeing. Like he's always planning ahead.
Yes.
You know, so
yeah, like that was
he's a smart dude. You know, he's mercenary. You know, he's out for himself. He's gonna find a way. But yeah, what I liked the most was when he goes to the cell and they're like, okay, well, this is where you sleep, this is where you shave, and he's like, food, and like, okay, this is the tube
that was great
food from, and so like if they get graded, they basically, it's like a contest, you know, if they assemble the most pieces that day, then they get some flavor added to their food. Okay. Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, but you're seeing the deprogramming or the reprogramming, right? Like you're seeing what the Empire's trying to do.
Oh yeah.
Here they're trying to reprogram these guys. And we learn also in this episode that most of the guys there don't know why they're there.
Right.
right? That's the other thing we learned because he asked, "What'd you do?" and he was like, "Nothing." And
Yeah.
they're like, "Yeah, we're getting a lot of that lately."
Yeah.
So, you were hearing that, and we also find out that they know about the heist.
Mhm.
The inmates know about the heist, and they start asking him about it, and he's acting like he didn't even hear about it. He doesn't no knowledge of it, so he's again in self-preservation mode, which he
Yeah.
always is in this show. But yeah, a lot of deep stuff in this episode with him, especially. It's mostly about his time in this prison. We do actually meet a character called Ruskat Milshi, who is part of the rebels in Rogue One. He's one of the characters that we meet in the prison that becomes a guy who joins the rebellion, and we see him again in Rogue One. Same actor and everything. So that was something really cool that I caught. I'm like, all right, well, this is where he's starting to build relationships that we're gonna learn about in the future when we actually get to Rogue One. We finally see a little bit more of Luthen again. Luthen is obviously plays a bigger part in this now. He's worried about Andor. They're all kind of looking for him now.
Yeah,
Everybody,
everyone's looking for him. They're
right? For
I
different
think for all
reasons.
different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. But we get Segra Milo is the planet that we see Luthen go to, and who do we see there but our old friend Saw Gerrera, again played by Forrest Whitaker.
Saw Gerrera.
Yes. So we learn a lot about the different mindsets, what Luthen is thinking about, how Luthen's approach is to the rebellion, and what Saw's approach is, which we kind of know. If you know the character, you kind of know who Saw actually is.
Yeah,
But
Saw's he's gonna go to the extreme if he has to, you know.
right. And he kind of calls Luthen out saying, like, what are you really? Like, what are you really doing?
Right.
And Luthen says, I'm a coward.
Yeah.
He even says, he goes, I'm just a coward. I'm a man who's terrified that the Empire is going to, grow be so big to a point where we can't do anything to stop it. So, I was wondering if we'd see like a young Jin here maybe pop up, because, that Saw was kind of her stepfather or foster father. So I was wondering if we'd see her pop up, but we didn't.
Not yet, but it was throwing me off because that one lady character, her name is Leia. Was I hearing that right?
No, the one Cashin's assistant.
No. What was Luthen's?
Yeah, his assistant. Yeah, Luthen's assistant. Yeah. Clea. It's K.
Leia. Okay, I kept hearing. That's why I had to do the subtitles.
Yeah, well, I had to do them when the inmates were talking.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually good picking up like a Scottish or an English accent. I'm pretty good. I can hear it. But in this, I was like, yeah, I have no idea what these guys are saying.
Right.
So yeah, I had to kind of go back a few times, and I should put on the closed caption. I didn't even think about it, but I should have done that because I would have been able to actually read it. But it's very. Go ahead.
With this show, man, closed captioning does help.
You wouldn't think so because everyone's speaking English, but
right. No, just to really just take in the words, take in the dialogue, because this it's a very dialogue driven show.
Yes.
To this point, there's things, if you're not paying attention, you're gonna completely miss. So like that just but that goes back to the writing. It's totally different Star Wars right here we're dealing with.
Yep. And then we get in this episode, we also get a little bit more with the Deidre. Deidre now has all this authority to look for, to probe this sector, and we see a little bit more. Again, her in the council bureau talking to them about what's going on, and she does get help from Portagaz in this meeting, and he kind of backs her up and says, hey, she really has, this is something that we need to explore because she's really finding stuff out. We found out that Cashin's code name is Axis. And she kind of knows, she's kind of started to piece together that Luthen, that even though they don't know who Luthen is, that he's kind of the one running things.
Right.
Like she kind of figures that, and that Cashin is attached to him in some way. I mean, crazy they don't know he's already been arrested because he's under a different name. But
Yeah, in that dude, um,
Cyril.
is that his name? Cyril, the
Cyril.
deputy inspector. That's what he was.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's that guy. He's just as out for it as she is. They're both trying to find Cassius. You know, and I see them two kind of forming a bond here pretty soon, where like, because she's already kind of tried to dismiss him,
Mhm.
but she knows this dude has information. She's playing him at this point,
Yes.
because she's Empire, he's really not, but
Right.
that's what he's aspiring to be, you know, and
He he filed what, like 7
yes,
flag reports or something like that, some
and
kind
she
of report.
wasn't even counting the last one.
Yeah, she said that, not counting the one this
Yeah.
morning, she said that. But that was the crazy thing too, I'm like, he is so obsessed.
Yeah, he's
Um,
he's a he's in the words of Master P, about it.
that's that's true. He totally is.
But
It's crazy. And she asks him, he says that she asks Cyril specifically in their scene in this interrogation room, what do you remember from what happened on Ferrix? And obviously he remembers Andor. He talks about Cashin and remembers
mhm,
him. But she said, what about the guy with him? And he was like, I don't really recall his face, but if I heard his voice, I'd know it like right
yeah,
away. I'd know it. And she kind of dismisses that,
right.
right? She's kind of just like, yeah, okay, whatever. You're not helping.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. You're right. They're definitely going to come back to those two in some form or fashion in the future. I can't imagine they won't. They're definitely building us up for that.
Yeah, that dude, he's a power, he wants the same kind of power as what she's kind of aspiring to, he wants to do more. And so he's full in Empire, and it's cool to see the differences of it, because you have people who are, it's even like today with politics or something, you have people who are this side, people who are that side, and they're full in. They don't see the any kind of negativity in it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Where the other side does. So if they're full Empire, they're totally thinking, okay, this is the right thing to do, you know? So it's because I could see that dude, probably really, I don't know, I wouldn't hang out with him, but but I mean, you can see he really thinks he's doing the right thing here because
Right.
I mean, Andor, he murdered some people, and this guy's a murderer. That's what
Right.
he sees. He. The black and white of it. So
Right.
it's like I said, it's good. It's the writing, the character building. It's story's great as far as I'm concerned at this point.
Yeah. He kind of reminded when, like you said, like he believes what he's doing is the truth and
Yeah.
he's being right. And that's kind of like what Obi-Wan said, right? The truth
Mhm.
is whatever your point of view is, depends on your point of view,
Yeah.
what the truth might be. And that's kind of what this kind of really shows and puts it in front of you. Like he doesn't know, or he doesn't believe the Empire is bad.
Mhm.
He has a job to do. And from his point of view, Andor's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Cassian Andor's a bad guy.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you take a step back and say, okay, take the rebellion out of it, and if you just saw this dude on the news, this guy killed all these people. He blew up. This is a bad guy.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it's
he
true.
doesn't even know that he's the one that robbed, you know.
Yeah.
Um yeah, stole all the money. He doesn't know that yet. So it's crazy. And you can tell he still has that hologram of him. Like he still carries the hologram of
Oh
like
yeah.
Cassian around with him. And yeah, he's obsessed with this
Yeah.
switch.
Andor deserves to be in prison. Damn it.
Yes.
I mean,
So we do, like we were talking about before. Now everyone is looking for him.
mhm.
Everyone's looking for Cassian. And it's the funniest thing because he's already caught, but everyone's looking
Yeah,
for him.
he's in prison. Everybody's looking for him.
Right. We go back.
Even the people who work for the Empire they're looking for him when he's just, but he's going by a different name, I guess.
Right. So we know from last episode that Vel Sartha is looking for him as well to kill him.
Mhm. Yes.
So we're going back to Ferrex because everyone just assumes, well, he's going to go back home, which we know he did already, but he's not there anymore. And we go back, and then we find that Marva's in bad shape, right? She's
Mhm.
cold,
Yeah.
she's sick. We see Bix Colleen show up again. She's kind of there, kind of taking care of her. She pops up in this, and then the other guy, his friend, the big guy, I forget his
Yeah,
name.
dude, I forget
Yeah.
his name.
But we see him in there again, and apparently they're all kind of this same little group. So now again, we're getting more layers to them because in the first episode, I didn't even know that big guy knew who Bix was, and now we're seeing them interact. So
that's how it was too. I was like, wow, okay.
yeah,
But yeah, apparently they all know each other, and but yeah, so Bix, she's wondering where he's at.
Right.
Everybody's wondering where he's at, and then you have the Empire come in, and they know who Bix is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Deidre actually found out who Bix was off camera because we don't know how that happened. We just know that now she knows her and she's looking for her. And they find her on Ferrex right after she tried to contact Luthen as well. We see another scene there where before he goes to see Saw, we see Bix trying to contact Luthen, and then Clea is sitting there like listening to it, and she's like, "We need to shut down the connection to Ferrex. They're going to find out who we are." And he doesn't want to at first, but he relents in the end and tells her to shut it down. So we know that connection now is severed, and we know that yes, we see Bix getting chased, and she does finally get caught. And she's brought to an interrogation room with Deidre there to ask her questions. That's how her little part of the story ends in this episode. So we don't know what's going to happen. We do know that she's going to be strapped to this chair because we saw the guy before that. He was kind of in there.
Yeah, he came out of there looking like Han Solo after Vader got done interrogating him.
Yeah.
He was not happy. So there was, where I'm looking forward to see what happens in the next episodes. I'm like, okay, how long is Andor going to be in this prison?
Right.
What's he going to do to get out? And I have a feeling, which I don't want to predict because I really don't know, but you don't put Andy Serkis in a role like that unless he's going to have something to do with maybe Andor's escape or something.
Yeah, he said he had 246 days left in his sentence, something like that.
Yeah, 240 something days left, and so
right. So he's determined to get out.
Yeah, he's gonna have a huge role in this, I would think.
Yep. So yeah, we also kind of see him assimilating to the routine. So he's kind of doing that as well.
Yeah, he's in there, and whatever they're building, I don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea. But this episode was just, again, it's the writing, like we've been talking about. The writing is just so good, and it's just such a direction was fantastic. It built so much. There's so much tension in this one too. Like from Mothma's side, right, and Luthen, and what's going to happen with Cassian in prison, and then the search for him. There's this underlying tension this entire episode.
Yeah. Aside from I guess it would have been episode 6 where they, did the job, and there was a lot of, they were pretty. There's a lot of killing, and that was a big action-packed episode. But aside from that one, this might be my favorite episode.
Yeah, it was very different. Like it's different than that one.
Yeah, it's
But
different. There wasn't action in it, but it was, like I said, it was the dialogue, the suspense, you know, all those things that just move the story along, but raises a lot of questions.
yeah, that's the thing this one did. And when it was over, I was like, wow, I can't wait for the next week.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally said that. I'm like, I wish now this is the time I wish they would have dumped the whole show at once so I could
Yeah.
watch it. Because now I have to wait and see what happens. But all of these different dynamics, and they're finally coming to us a place now with all these characters that we've met throughout the
Mm-hmm.
series.
Oh
Which
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I'm ready to see more Saw Guerra. And so what? Episode 8. So we got there's a lot of show left.
there's 4 more in season 1.
Yeah.
It's 12 and 12, right? So there's 4 more in season 1. So we're gonna see. I don't know if they're doing them back to back. I don't know if they're doing the first 12 now and then the next 12 like next year. I have no idea. But this show, for the people who say is not Star Wars, I'm kind of like, I see what you're saying. I get it.
I
But
see it as, so I look at it like, okay, Star Wars, you can put on any trilogy of Star Wars, and I can sit down and watch it. My 8-year-old can sit down and watch it. My teenagers can watch. We can all sit down and watch it together. But this one, my 8-year-old's he's not going to be into it.
right.
It's adult. It's an adult Star Wars.
Yes.
So that's my thing with it, is that, like I said, you take this story, you put it into another universe, and it's going to work. Because the acting is great, the storytelling is great, the dialogue is great. It all works out. But to me, it takes Star Wars to a different level, and it opens up a whole different can of worms, if you want to say. I mean, like I said, Star Wars ain't going anywhere. But what you have to do is you've got to have different avenues for it. You know what I mean? So you got to.
Yeah, if you want something to grow, you got to grow out of what we know it to be. Like those things that we've gotten already and everything that we've had, nothing's ever going to change that. Like
No, all that's awesome. I love it. Never change that. But and this is something that, for someone who doesn't like Star Wars, has never really taken the time to watch any of the movies or anything like that, or it's too much kid stuff. They see something like this and, okay, this is different. Someone who's into that drama, into the good acting this could turn someone into a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, from a different angle, and bring
Right.
them into this universe, and they can start watching it. It's been fun watching the reactions.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it really has been, especially coming off of Obi-Wan, which obviously was a legacy character that we knew, and bringing back Vader and all the hoopla surrounding that return of Hayden Christensen and everything having to do with Obi-Wan, and then this comes right after it, and it's completely different. It's just, again, same time period in the universe. It's both post-Sith.
Mm-hmm.
They're both put in this new world where the Empire is just being formed, but this show is 20 times deeper and richer than what we got from Obi-Wan, right? So
for sure.
So we're definitely seeing that, and you're right. It's good television for a more mature audience.
Yeah, and I think being that it's characters that we're not as familiar with, they've got to have that kind of character building for them, for you to care. You know what I mean? I mean, you've had 6 movies with Obi-Wan Kenobi, so of course they could have did 1 episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi and everyone would have loved it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we all love Obi-Wan. But so for these characters, we don't know, for the most part, we don't know them. So there's going to have to be a lot of character building, and for us to care about these guys as much as we would care about Luke or Obi-Wan or anybody, C-3PO, I mean, they got to build them up, and they got to make us care. And then at this point, I mean, yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah, that's been the biggest revelation for me for this show is I didn't think it was something I wanted. I remember when they announced it, I was like, I don't really need to know that story. But now
Right.
that I've gotten it, I'm like, this is fantastic. Like I'm loving it. So
Mhm.
however it ends, or however this season 1 ends, I know it's going to end on some freaking cliffhanger that we're going to be caught with for like the whole year.
Why would it not?
Exactly, it's going to do that. I have no doubt. But I'm so happy that we're getting this show and that it's just so well done. Very quickly, let's kind of throw in Tales of the Jedi. Now I know you said you haven't been able to watch it yet.
I haven't watched it yet.
All right, so I'll talk a little bit about it because I actually last night I stayed up. I'm not going to give up any. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell any spoilers or anything about it. I'll just say they're like 15, 16 minutes each. They're very small little pocket episodes, and they focus pretty much on Ahsoka, Count Dooku, Qui-Gon. Yeah, pretty much those three. It's pretty much those three characters. And it fills in a lot of the blanks that we didn't get behind the scenes during those time periods. So
yeah, I clicked on it and I saw that it was 14 minutes, 15 minutes, little episodes like that, and I was like, well, this is something you can sit down and watch back to back to back to back, so I probably will watch it tomorrow.
it's about an
off. My son's going to be home with me, so hopefully he'll enjoy watching it. So yeah, we're going to do that. And so, yeah, if you want to talk about that afterwards, hey, let's do
well, yeah, I don't know. Like, I know Rick watched it. I'm pretty sure. I think some other guy, but I haven't really talked to anyone about it because I literally last night I'm like, oh, let me watch the first one. And when I realized how short they were, I just watched all of them.
Yeah, you're going to watch them all.
So, but yeah, I mean, it gives backstory to those characters. And the Dooku stuff was the most interesting to me because I feel like he's the guy we know least about.
Yeah, I've always Dooku's the guy who we knew was a Jedi, but when we met him, he was already to the dark side. So we never really got that kind of story, like why that happened.
Well, you're gonna get it. I'll tell you that you're gonna get it.
I'm down.
And it's well done. I mean, Dave Filoni did all of these, so Dave Filoni wrote all of them, directed all of them. He's the dude, so he did all of it. So they're very well done, and he knows these characters better than anyone else. So from that point of view, they're excellent, and the animation's good, the dialogue's good. I mean, really, really good stuff. So when you do get a chance to watch it, you can just message me and say, Eric, I saw it.
Yeah, does it look like the Clone Wars?
Yeah, yep. Similar animation to the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
You get there's a little Obi-Wan in it, there's a little Anakin, there's some Yoda.
Right.
There's a couple of new characters that we haven't seen before that you'll meet. So it's really cool. It's a cool thing that I hope he does more of these. I don't know who else he'd do them with, but I kind of hope he does more of these going forward. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because it is a new Star Wars thing. It's not enough to do. Like you could do one show on it and be done. So you wouldn't need a weekly thing to do. It's just a really quick rundown. But if anyone out there is watching it and they want to let me know and talk to me or reach out to me, it definitely can. I will definitely talk about with it. It's weird. I'm in this space, but I don't get to talk as much Star Wars as I do my other loves like Batman and Superman, and I feel like I'm talking about those characters all the time.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, like the few people who I actually like, there's one dude who I actually kind of talk about some of this stuff with, but he's the toxic fan, the one who's like nothing's ever good enough.
Okay.
It's like he's a big Superman guy, and it's like, dude, you got a Superman show, you got Cavill coming back, and so bad. I'm just like, come on, bro.
Seriously, this is a good time now.
Yeah, dude, we get so much stuff now. It's like, yeah, not all of it's gonna be great, but the fact that we're getting it.
Literally, if you're a Superman fan, the last week and a half should be even longer because of everything was leaked beforehand. So you should even be a bigger like you should be in a happier mood now than you've been in a long time.
Oh man, I mean, dude, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't understand the whole the fans who just hate everything that comes out.
Dude, before I was actively in this space and I was just like a fan of it, I used to read some of the stuff and be like, I don't know why people get all uptight. And now that I've been on the other side of some of these arguments and that people have taken shots at me, it's kind of like, dude, it's at the end of the day, these are just capes and tights and
it's all make believe.
What are we getting all excited about?
All make believe.
But I guess that's like the gift and the curse, right? Like it's you're passionate about these things, you want to talk about it, you have feelings about it, they're a part of your life in a way. But
it's fun, but I mean, man, we get so much stuff now. It's like we're spoiled, you know.
Yeah, perspective, people. Let's have a little perspective.
It's just like, man, you know.
All right, man. So thank you for coming on again. This was fun. I do this show again. It's weird. Even a lot of my Star Wars friends are kind of iffy on it, so I'm not even getting like talk with them about it because some of them are like, "Oh, Eric, it's so boring."
I ran. There's, like I said, the few people who I kind of talked to about. Got the dog here. She's biting my hand.
Okay.
Anyway, the few people who I kind of talk about some of this stuff with, I don't even think they've really watched Andor yet. You know, and it's I'm like, man,
just to listen to
you gotta watch it. You know, you're missing out. But you know, there's stuff I don't watch. You know,
sure.
But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of marveled out at this point. You know, there's a lot of the Marvel stuff I don't watch. There's stuff that I've kind of given a chance, and if it doesn't hook me in the beginning, I just, you know, I'm not gonna do it. But in this show, like, and I think I said it the first time, the fact that they put out the first 3 episodes at one time, and you were able to sit down and watch all 3, that was enough for me, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
If it had just been one episode, it'd been okay. It might, you know, not have caught on as quick, but it's a great show. It's a great show, I think, and I hope it just gets better. I hope it doesn't go downhill. But I'm gonna stay glass half full.
Yeah. I agree with this. We know that sometimes finales don't always stick the landing. So I'm wondering how the season 1 finale is going to go. That usually goes a long way in telling you how people are going to continue to perceive the show and watch it. So we'll see how that works out. But
real quick, did you watch Werewolf by Night?
I haven't watched it yet. Oh. I was waiting to watch it. I was going to actually wait for Halloween to watch it because I'm just like one of those weird people who likes to do stuff like that.
That might be my favorite Marvel thing that they've done.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah. I've heard a lot of that though. It's gotten a lot of really.
I mean, it's different. It's a different thing, but
yes,
I love the old monster horror movies. I love horror movies.
Yes,
and so Werewolf by Night's good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone I know who's watched it has said that. So you're pretty much in line with what everyone else has said. I see it every time I go to Disney Plus. I see it. I'm like, I want to watch it, but then I keep saying, no, I'll just watch it on Halloween. I'll wait for Halloween. Maybe I'll stay up and I'll Sunday night and I'll just watch it right when Halloween hits, and then I'll go to bed after.
They put Barbarian on HBO Max, so I'm probably gonna watch that.
So we'll see. Yeah, Halloween is obviously Monday, everyone. If you didn't know that, I love Halloween, so I always know what it is. But there's certain people who hate the holiday. I don't understand that. So,
and you did go to the movies and saw the last Halloween movie, right?
I haven't seen that yet either.
You haven't watched that yet? Really?
No. Everyone has killed it. Like everyone I've spoken to.
You gotta watch it.
So no, I'm definitely going to watch it. Don't get me wrong, but I was gonna watch it. And then I got sick. And so I'm like, I'm not going to, I skipped over that time. And then I was like, I'll eventually get to it, and I just haven't yet, but I'll probably watch it. Maybe even after the show, I'll put on and watch it. I don't know.
You got Peacock, right? It's on Peacock.
Actually, I have a copy of it, but that's but that's
okay.
I won't say how I have a copy of it. I just have a copy of it. So
I had one of those copies of Titanic back in the day.
No, it's not. It's not like a radio. But yeah, I definitely wanted to watch it. It's weird. I actually was feeling a little better the other night, so I did go to the movies. But
what'd you watch?
I went and saw Black Adam again because I had this pass for it that I had to use by a certain day. So I was like, I'll just go see it again.
Mm-hmm. Black Adam was great. I loved it.
Yes, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
so even seeing it the second time, like, just reaffirmed everything for me.
Yeah, no, it was great. And there are people that I know that haven't gone and watched it yet. I'm like, why haven't you gone and watched this? I can't believe it didn't make more money than what it did.
It's so much fun. It really
is. It was a fun movie.
It is.
That's my thing. It's like, it's a DC movie, but not every movie has to be the Batman,
Right.
I mean, there are different kinds of, and Black Adam was everything that any Marvel movie would be, except it was just more violent,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's certain themes, like certain styles of Marvel film. Yes, it's very much. Yeah. I even said that to people. I'm like, it's in a lot of ways, it's a Marvel film.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and I don't know, like, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did.
I wasn't either.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
I think that kind of helped, kind of going in it with not great expectations, but
not knowing the character that well either, not having any preconceived notions of like what I wanted to see, or all I know is I'm a big Dr. Fate fan, so that's all I cared about. Like, I wanted to see Dr. Fate on screen and how they did, and it's a really faithful portrayal. Like, it's very, very well done how they did it. So yeah, but it was fantastic. I don't understand the critics who hate it, but they're critics.
No, not at all. I mean, the fans love it. If you that's normally, if I look at, I'll look at Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like, if the critics hate something but the fans love it, then more than likely I'm going to like it.
It's expected to do well this weekend too, second weekend. So they're saying another 30 something million.
Yeah,
that's domestic. So as long as if it makes 354, which is what Shazam made, I think they'll consider that a success. I don't know, but
I didn't see the budget for it.
Well, because of the reshoots with COVID and everything, or not the reshoots, but the CGI work they had to do to fix it. I think the budget was close to 200 million, which is a lot.
Yeah, but that's in line with the Batman.
Yeah.
After, because I think it started at about 100, but because of COVID and all the stuff.
But yes, that is it for this one. That is it for Andor, episode 7 and 8. I will be back next week. Discuss. If you haven't
watched it, watch it.
Yes, seriously. If you guys haven't seen the show yet, you're missing out. Put all that preconceived stuff that you have about Star Wars behind. Just watch the show as a show, and I'm telling you, you'll fill in the Star Wars blanks yourself, and you'll enjoy it much more that way. So that's my advice. If you're going to watch it, that'd be my advice. So, Steve, again, I want to thank you for coming on. Maybe we'll have you on again if you want to do it again.
Sure. Anytime, dude.
It'd be fun to have you. Guys, if you want to reach me on Twitter, there's all my stuff. If you want to see, of course, my personal Twitter handle is at finally33, which you see there. Me and Pete's handle on Twitter is at straight_O_G. So if you want to interact with me about Andor or anything that we do on the SOG podcast, which of course we record every week. So if you guys want to, if you're listening to that, you want to talk to us, reach us here or there, reach us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook page, a show page where we kind of post everything and any kind of stuff we're doing, we put on the page, and the group is for people to interact. Steve is in the group. So if you guys want to talk to him, you can reach him in there as well. check out you can guys look for me personally for my Knicks podcast. It's called All Nicked Up, all_Nicked_up on Twitter. You can reach me there as well if you're a fan of the New York Knicks and want to actually celebrate with me this year because they're 3-1 right now. So there's been
3-1. Well, I have the Mavericks game on over here, and they just went into they're in overtime with Brooklyn, but they're up by 4 points in overtime with 18 seconds left. 5 points.
All right. Looks like
Luka has a 40-point triple-double. So
oh wow.
Just gotta throw that in there.
Not surprising. Not surprising.
Hey man, the guy's he's a genius.
He's one of my
MVPs. The most fun to watch. I mean, the guy's a mastermind on the court, man.
He's one of my MVP favorites for this year. So
if they got to play defense, that's all I got to say.
Wow, their bench. Well, whatever. Let's not get on this topic. We're not going to bother anyone. Let's shut down the show.
Well, whenever they play the Knicks, you get to bring me on the show for that
one. The guys would love it. So I'll definitely talk to the rest of the crew, and we will bring you on for that show because that would be fun. I would have a great time doing that.
Oh yeah.
All right, everybody. So we're gonna close this one down. For Steve, I'm Eric. You're watching SOG Tonight. We'll see you next week.